Saranam Parmananda Madhavam. All glories to assembled devotees. So we'll resume our discussion in third canto, chapter 23, verse 48. And the chapter is titled The Lamentation of Devhuti. In the preceding verses, we essentially saw the enjoyment of Devahuti and Kardamuni. So Devahuti had approached Kardamuni, reminding him of the promise that he would provide her with children. And Kardamuni, by his mystic powers, had accomplished many wonderful things. He created an aerial mansion. He asked Devahuti to enter into Bindu Sarovar, take a bath over there. And then he created another a castle underwater where thousands of apsaras waited on Devahuti. They dressed her nicely. By the contact of the water, she regained her youthful luster. And then after that, the rest of the verses describe the opulence of the palace and the enjoyment of Kardama and Devahuti. So we now come to verse 48. Ata sa sushve sadyo Devahuti striyaha prajaha Sarvastascharu sarvagya Lohitotpal gandhayaha. Immediately after, on the same day, Devahuti gave birth to 9 female children, all charming in every limb and fragrant, with the scent of the red lotus flower. So the previous verse talked about the pregnancy of Devahuti, and unlike conventional pregnancies, Devahuti gave birth the very next day. So this is also mentioned in the context of the Devas, that when they do have children, they have children almost immediately after conception. And as soon as they are born, the children attain youth. And so similarly, it is noticed, it is noted over here. So Prabhupada in the purport writes that it is said in the Smriti Shastra as well as in Ayurveda. I think we did this verse. So Prabhupada writes that the reason Devahuti had daughters was because she was more passionate in the engagement. So Prabhupada says all the daughters were very beautiful and the bodies were nicely formed. Each resembled a lotus flower and was fragrant like a lotus. Verse 49. Patim sa pravajashantam tada laksho shati bahi samyamana viklavena hridayena vidyuyata. When she saw her husband about to leave home, she smiled externally, but at heart she was agitated and distressed. So Devahuti now suddenly noticed that her husband is preparing to leave. And in 9 verses, we will see that Devahuti will plead to Kardamuni to stay back. So in 3:22:19, Karda Muni had actually made that as one of the preconditions of the marriage. He had said that as soon as I give her a child, I will leave. So according to that, he was he was uh, he was leaving, and Prabhupada notes the detachment and renunciation of Kardamuni. So when the time for him to be in the Grahastha was there, then he enjoyed piously. Prabhupada says, building the castle of the air, traveling all over the universe with his wife in the company of beautiful girls, begetting of children. But now all that was finished. And without any regret, without any lethargy, Kardamuni is quickly ready to give up everything. It's a difficult thing because once somebody has tasted material enjoyment, then that taste makes home in the heart of the person. And it speaks highly of the internal detachment of Kardamuni. That even though for thousands and thousands of years, in an environment that was unimaginable even by the most exalted demigods, Kardamuni had enjoyed. But now he was uh, without any regret, willing to give it up. Prabhupada says that the example of Kardamuni should be understood very clearly. A person whose main concern is Krishna consciousness, even if he's entrapped in household life, should always be ready to leave household enticement as soon as possible. So we see that Devahuti, she smiled externally, but her heart was agitated and distressed. So one can understand that why her heart was agitated and distressed, and her smiling externally is not because it's not a sign of her being duplicitous. Her smiling externally is just her respect for her husband. So, in order to create an environment that is agreeable and pleasant, she's subduing her internal agitation, even though she will express her mind and her heart openly. But and that's the sign of being cultured, that everything is done in an agreeable and a pleasant manner. Verse 50. Likhante adho mukhi bhumim padanagmani shriya uvacha lalitam vacham nirudyashru kalam shanahe. He stood and scratched the ground with her foot, which was radiant with the luster of her gem-like nails. Her head bent down, she spoke in slow yet charming accents, suppressing her tears. So Prabhupada talks about the psychology of women, and he says that when a woman scratches the ground with her foot, it is a sign that her mind is very disturbed. And we see the gopis, they had also manifested the same external symptoms. And when Krishna had played the flute and the gopis had left everything and come to him, and then he started advising them to go back. And the gopis were quiet. They did not move, but they were also displaying the same symptom of scratching the ground with their feet because their minds were disturbed at the prospect of leaving Krishna. So Devahuti, similarly here, her mind is disturbed at the prospect of Kardamuni leaving. And she's suppressing her tears again in order to not show any inauspiciousness. And she's speaking in slow yet charming accents. Verse 51. Devahuti ruvacha sarvam tad bhagavan mahyam upovaha pratishrutam athapi me prapannaya abhayam datum arhasi. Devahuti said, My Lord, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me. Yet, because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness too. So, Devahuti had initially reminded Kardam Muni about the promise of progeny. And before that, she had, even though it wasn't a promise of Kardam Muni, but she had asked for material opulence, and Kardam Muni had fulfilled it beyond her expectation. But now she is asking for abhayam. She is saying abhayam datum arasi, that now you should give me fearlessness. Why? And because prapanyai, because I am one who is surrendered to you. So she surrendered to her husband both as a wife, and she has accepted him as a guru also. So she's addressing Kardam Muni in the superlative. She's saying, Bhagwan Mayam, that you are uh, Bhagwan also means superior, also means one who is in an exalted position. So she's essentially saying that you're my Lord, you're my Guru, and I am someone surrendered unto you. So you should grant me fearlessness. And Prabhupada says that in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that how one achieves faithlessness. Fearlessness, and that is by taking shelter of one who has a relationship directly with the Lord. So he says that one should not become a spiritual master, nor a husband, nor a kinsman, nor a father, nor a mother, etc., if one cannot free the dependent from the clutches of death. It is the duty of the superior to give fearlessness to the subordinate. So essentially what it means is that if one takes on these roles, then one should be qualified to give them the proper instructions, give those who are dependent the proper instructions to become fearless. And actually speaking, fearlessness is synonymous to spiritual emancipation, because material existence, it is at every step there is danger. So there is no amount of preparation in the material existence that can prepare one for being completely free from fear. So essentially, Devahuti is asking Kardam Muni to deliver her from the material life. And this is Kardam Muni, this she is reminding is his duty. 52. Brahman duhe tribistubhyam vimagraha pataya samaha kaschit syanmi vishokaya tvai pravajite vanam. My dear Brahman, as far as your daughters are concerned, they will find their own suitable husbands and go away to the respective homes. But who will give me solace after your departure as a sannyasi? So, previous verse, Devahuti was talking about material emancipation. Now she is saying that even from a material perspective, it's the duty of the husband to give protection to the wife. So it is understood that a husband can only take sannyas if there is a grown son to take care of the wife. So Prabhupada says that the husband becomes indebted to the wife for all the service that she has rendered to him through the life. And if one is in debt, then it becomes his duty to repay the debt. So he gives the example that a guru, he should not accept service from a disciple without giving him spiritual instructions. Similarly, a husband cannot accept service from the wife without giving her proper protection, both material and spiritual. So previous verse talked about spiritual protection. Here Devahuti is saying is that I don't have a son. I have 9 daughters, but they will get married. They will leave me. I will be all alone. So I need a son. And of course, what will happen is that she will get both. She will have a son who will protect her materially and also deliver her spiritually. Verse 53. Etavatalam kalena vyatikrantena me prabhu indyartha prasangena pratiyakta paratmanaha. Until now, we have simply wasted so much of our time in sense gratification, neglecting to cultivate the knowledge of the Supreme Lord. So Karna Muni might say that you have already had so much of sense gratification with me. Now, are you asking me to stay back, to continue with that sense gratification? And Devahuti is essentially addressing that implicit question, that no, we have already wasted so much of time in sense gratification. Now what I am looking for is spiritual advancement. Okay. Verse 54. Indyartheshu sanjatya prasangastvai me krutaha ajanantya param bhavam tathapyastva abhayaya me. Not knowing your transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of the senses. Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. So in the previous verse, Devahuti had said that we have wasted so much of time in sense gratification. But she wants to make sure that she is not including Kardam Muni in that wastage of time. So she is herself taking the responsibility of that. And to some extent it is true, because it was only when Devahuti approached Kardam Muni that he reciprocated. And also in the mood of humility, she's accepting responsibility of the thousands of years that they have spent in material enjoyment. And she's giving an explanation that it's my fault. I did not understand your transcendental situation. She says, Ajanantya Parambhava, that I did not know. But then she says, Tathapi, that nonetheless, which means that I made a mistake. I'm sorry about it, but do not hold me responsible for it now. So, what is the redeeming factor that she brings to Karda Muni's attention? That I have loved you. She says, while attached to the objects of senses, I have loved you. So that is the redeeming factor. So that is why she says that Tathapi, that nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. So this mood of this mood of distilling gold from a dirty place, we see that in relationship of Krishna and his devotees also. It's said that even with material desires approaches Krishna, kama sarva kamo vi moksha kamodharati tivrena bhakti yogena. So even if one approaches Krishna and material desires, Krishna reciprocates. Same mood with Krishna's devotees. That even if one approaches Krishna's devotees with material desires, then the devotees are so magnanimous that they will reciprocate to that attachment. So Devahuti is giving two reasons here that even after a prolonged attachment with Karda Muni or a prolonged association with Karda Muni, she has not been delivered. First, she says that she was attached to sense pleasure. And secondly, she says that not knowing your transcendental position, that she was not aware of his supreme position. So now she is witnessing Karda Muni's detachment, that he is quickly inclined to give up all his possessiveness in an instant. So she's implying that this great detachment that he is manifesting is a symptom of his being a great devotee of the Lord. Because otherwise nothing had factually changed. The Karda Muni might say that for so many years you have been associating with me. Now how is it that all of a sudden you are saying that now I'm aware of your transcendental situation? So the reason that she's giving, or the reason that is being implied over here, is this extreme renunciation of Karda Muni. And the second, of course, is that the knowledge that Devahuti had was covered with the desire to enjoy sensually. So sometimes it happens that a person approaches a very advanced devotee and develops attachment to the devotee. And then because of that, they begin to make material progress. And then very soon, this material progress, it covers their real understanding of the real position of the devotee. Especially in India, you'll see people go and they will go to even who are genuine devotees. And they have genuine attraction for them. But they'll say, please bless me that my business does well. Please bless me that my troubles go away. So just that material advantages that they're getting, that covers that knowledge. So Devahuti is acknowledging that. So Prabhupada says that association with a great personality is most important. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya says sadhu sang, the association of a great saintly person is very important. Because even if one is not advanced in knowledge, simply by association with a great saintly person, one can immediately make considerable advancements in spiritual life. As a woman, as an ordinary wife, Devahuti became attached to Karna Muni in order to satisfy her sense enjoyment and other material necessities. But actually, she associated with a great personality. Now she understands this and she wants to utilize the advantage of the association of her great husband. Okay, verse 55. Sangoya samsrater hetu asatsu vihito dhiya sa eva sadhuso kruto nipsangatvaya kalpate. Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage. But the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. So one of the questions that we may ask or Kardamuni may ask is that Devahuti was associating with Kardamuni for so many years. Now, what has changed that has made her aware only a devotee of the Lord can give things up, material things up so easily? Now here she gives the second reason, that even though my association with you was faulty, so she says even it was performed without knowledge, adhiya, it was vihita adhiya, it was done without knowledge, but the nature of that association is regardless, the effect will be there.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we have lost you twice.
Yeah, 1 second, Prabhu. Looks like Prabhu's video is there. I don't see him.
Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but your video is on only. It suddenly went off.
Let me close.
Now we can't even hear audio.
Abel, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
And is the video okay?
No, we cannot see you.
Or you still can't see me?
I can see now, Prabhu, on my side.
Oh, you,
Yes, the video is okay now. I could see you.
Prem Kishore Prabhu, you can see me?
now I can see you.
Okay, okay. Okay, so so Devahuti is glorifying the potency of the association. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about this association that that the gopis were attached to Krishna for sense gratification, and yet they became first-class devotees of the Lord. Kamsa, Shishupal, Dantavakra, and other demons, however, were related to Krishna as enemies, but whether they associated with Krishna as enemies or sense gratification, or for sense gratification, out of fear, or as pure devotees, they all got liberation. That is the result of associating with the Lord. So this Prabhupada is actually paraphrasing a verse that is spoken in the 7th canto, first chapter, by Narad Muni to Maharaj Yudhishthir, when he witnesses that Shishupal, after being killed by Krishna, he saw that his soul entered into Krishna's body, and Yudhishthir was shocked that great yogis, they perform austerities for millions of years and they are yet not able to get that. And Shishupal, he was so envious of Krishna. And then Narad Muni, he talks about this, that if whether in lust or anger or envy, however way one associates with Krishna, one gets purified. And one of the verses that Prabhupada speaks in this context, Yena Tena Prakarena, Krishna Mana Niveshayat, Sarvavidhi Nishedaya, or Etayor Eva Kinkara. The Prabhupada actually combines 2 or 3 verses, and this is more of a Prabhupada verse. He combines a part of this verse, he combines part of the verse that appears in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sarvavidhi Nishedaya, or Etayor Eva Kinkara. And Yena Kena Prakarena Mana Krishna Niveshya. That is apparently that is a line that Prabhupada speaks. But it's a very important concept that one way or the other, if one associates with Krishna, one gets purified. And then Narad Muni says, how much more so for the devotees of the Lord? So, of course, liberation is of many kinds. The kind of liberation that the gopis are a different case, but the kind of liberation that Kamsa and Shishupal and Dantavakar, etc. got is far, far inferior from the kind that devotees aspire to get. So Devahuti, even though she is taking on the role of being a simple-hearted, ignorant woman, but we can see that she is well versed in the science of bhakti, because she is glorifying the nature of that association, that even if one unknowingly partakes of it, one gets purified. And we see that example also in around us. There's this case of the famous case of this person who wanted to steal Prabhupada's watch, and he was actually stalking Prabhupada. And so the way he was stalking Prabhupada was that he would show up for all his programs. And Prabhupada noticed, and finally he spoke to him. And he was a young boy at the time, but he was a thief. And then just by hearing the program, just by associating, even for different motives, he became so purified that he confessed to Prabhupada that I actually wanted to steal your watch. And then Prabhupada gave him his watch. And of course, he gave it back to him. And he went on to become a really fixed up disciple of Prabhupada. So that's the potency of association. The best is if you take it knowingly, even unknowingly, it acts. Verse 56. Nehayat karma dharmaya na viragaya kalpate na tirtha pada sevaye jivan api mrito hisaha. Anyone whose work is not meant to elevate him to religious life, anyone whose religious ritualistic performance do not raise him to renunciation, and anyone situated in renunciation that does not lead him to devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be considered dead, although he is breathing. So this again shows the deep spiritual understanding of Devahuti. And essentially what she's talking about here is the yoga ladder. She's that one performs karma, religious ritualistic performances. So these are essentially karma kand. Then why does one perform karma kand? Because one develops detachment. What is the result of karma kand? So this is our Bhagavad Gita refresher from Bhakti Shastri. Why does one perform karma kand? To reach the stage of nishkam karma. So when one who is at the stage of nishkam karma, devotee is not giving all the rungs, but she's saying that ultimately that nishkam should result in bhakti. And there are intermediate stages that from nishkam one gets atma gyan, from atma gyan one then matures to Paramatma realization. From Paramatma realization, then one reaches to the stage of Bhagwan realization. But essentially, she's talking about the progress. The Prabhupada quotes, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, any work that does not lead ultimately to the standard of devotional service is a cause of bondage. They quotes the word in chapter 3, Yagyathat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Tadatham karma konteya mukta sangha samachara. So unless one is gradually elevated to the position of devotional service, beginning from his natural activity, he is to be considered as a dead body. So dead although breathing. So this is the analogy that is also used by the sages to condemn materialistic people. It says that that one who does not use this valuable form of life to make spiritual advancement will be considered to be dead, although breathing, because they're not using the human purpose of life. So Prabhupada says that work which does not lead to the understanding of Krishna consciousness is considered useless. Verse 57. So we have a few more verses and we will finish this chapter. Then we can pause for a discussion. 57. Sambhagvato nunam vanchita mayaya dridam yatvami muktidam prapya namumuksheya bandhanat. My Lord, surely I have been solidly cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For in spite of having obtained your association, which gives liberation from material bondage, I did not seek such liberation. So this verse summarizes the plea of Devahuti, that she's saying that I've been cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So while she is taking responsibility, she is also presenting herself as one who needs protection, as one who is fallible, as one who is weak. Because Kardamuni could say that, okay, now you understand what needs to be done. So go ahead and do it. So she's saying, I'm Maya Devi is, as far as I'm concerned, she's insurmountable. And she has in the past illusioned me, and she will continue to illusion me. So what is the proof that she has been illusioned in the past? She says that even though I obtained your association, I did not seek liberation. So the unspoken part of it is that if you just leave me, I will still be in the same miserable position. So this is Devahuti making the final plea for Kardamuni to stay. So Prabhupada says Devahuti was conscious that she was born as the daughter of an emperor. She was sufficiently educated and cultured, and at last she got Kardamuni, a saintly person and a great yogi, as her husband. Still, she did not get liberation from the entanglement of material energy. Then certainly she would be cheated by the insurmountable illusory energy. So the same point Prabhupada is making, the fact that she was cheated in the past, she does not want to remain in that same situation. So she's taking shelter of her husband here. So this ends the 23rd chapter, and I'm going to pause over here and see if you have any discussions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one quick question, Prabhuji. Like here, Devahuti is saying that like she is materially entangled, and later also in Kapil Dev prayers we hear similar things about her material attachment. So easy, because if somebody can become a mother of Supreme Personality of Godhead, like can they be materially attached, or it is only out of her humility, devotee mood she is talking like that?
It's both. So one becomes the or one gets the Lord as a child primarily because of the mercy of the Lord. But then something has to be done to attract the mercy. We'll read about it in the next chapter. When Kardamuni begins to glorify Devahuti, he does glorify the fact that she has led a moral and a religious life, followed the rules and regulations. So there was definitely effort on her side, but partially out of humility and partially out of being factual. She's also acknowledging the fact that that she's conditioned. And of course, later on, by the instructions of her son, she becomes liberated.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. There is a one analogy, and I don't know whether I heard from you or from somewhere else. When a person takes a dip in the Ganges to get rid of the sin, and with the knowledge of the purifying potency of Ganges, then he gets that benefit. But those who have no knowledge of that and simply going to take a bath or swim in the Ganges, they don't get any real benefit. And it is compared to the fishes which are already in the Ganges. They are unaware of the potency of the Ganges, and so it is like that. But here we see, even without knowledge, when we associate with a saintly person, we get that benefit of purification and liberation. So how to understand these two things? Any thoughts and enlightenment?
Difference is the extent. So Devahuti has definitely made some advancements. So she has made enough advancements to understand the position of Kardam Muni. She has made enough advancements to understand the importance of liberation and the transient nature of material enjoyment, but not made enough advancements to actually get liberated. Whereas if somebody or if she would have associated with full understanding of the potency of association, then yes, then the advantage that she would get would be manifold. So it's like Agyat Sukriti. Agyat Sukriti is unknowingly doing pious activities, and these are unknowingly doing spiritually pious activities. They give some advantage. Mostly what they do is they qualify you for getting further, they give you the opportunity to make further advancements. But it's not that Agyat Sukriti will actually deliver you or give you the perfection of that association or that activity. So the difference is the extent to which one is able to avail of it.
So that means the advantage of associating with the same person without any knowledge still has a benefit of liberating a person, not right away, but then putting him in a position like Agyata Sukriti that you're saying, putting him in a position of eventually getting liberated. Am I correct? My understanding correct?
Correct. More precisely, giving him that opportunity. Because ultimately, a person can only be liberated by their own efforts. Right? Unless somebody gets the explicit benediction, one becomes a Kripa Siddha, which is very, very rare. Otherwise, one only becomes liberated by their own effort. So that effort has to be there. But yes, through unknowingly getting association or serving devotees, one gets that opportunity. And then if they're able to avail of that opportunity, then yes, then they are embarking on that path. And we are all living proof of that, right? At some point we got some association because of whatever reason, whether we deserved it or not, but we got some association. Because of that association, we now have an opportunity, and what we do with that opportunity is completely up to us.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, if we take the case of Putana, she came with the intention to kill Krishna, but even that Krishna gave her liberation, maybe the highest state of liberation. That means a mercy. No, in this case.
Yeah, Putana is like one of the special cases where she just received an overabundance of mercy from Krishna, even though that mercy was also a reciprocation, because in her previous life, Putana was, what was her name? Ratnamala? She was the daughter, either the daughter or the sister of Bali Maharaj. And when the Vamandev pastime happened, then she developed a strong affection for the Lord. And the Lord reciprocated to that, saying that she said that I wish I could have him as a son, and he said, so be it. So yes, the mercy was there because of her genuine devotion to the Lord. It got covered later on by her more baser instincts, but that bhakti was there, and Krishna did reciprocate more exclusively to that bhakti. So yes, it is a case of where there was an overabundance of mercy from Krishna. But it's not something Prabhupada would say, not something that we should count on. He's saying it's like you don't go to school and then you expect to get an honorary degree from a college. There are some people who do get it. They don't go to school, and for whatever reasons, they get an honorary doctorate, and they're as good as somebody who spent so many years getting a doctorate. But such people are few in between, and it's not recommended that we basically sit back waiting that we'll get an honorary degree. Best for us is to study.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. So if there are no more discussion, we can move on to the next chapter. This is Canto 3, Chapter 24, and the title is Renunciation of Kardama Muni. So this chapter will describe the birth of Lord Kapila, the glorification of Lord Kapila by Brahma. It will also talk about the marriage of the 9 daughters of Kardama Muni to the Prajapatis. And then it will conclude with Kardama Muni attempt 2 to leave. So he made one attempt to leave, Devahuti stopped him, stayed back, gives her a son, and then he leaves, makes attempt 2, which he succeeds. So second attempt to leave, and then finally leaving the Grastashram to become a Paramhamsa. Okay, so 324.1. Maitreya Vacha Nirvedavadnemevam Manoduhitaram Munihi Dayaluhu Shalinimaha Shuklabhyavadham Smaran. Recalling the words of Lord Vishnu, the merciful sage Kardam replied as follows to Swambhava Manu's praiseworthy daughter, Devahuti, who was speaking words full of renunciation. So, why is Devahuti speaking words full of renunciation? Because she is actually asking Kardama Muni to stay back. And the purport is that now she is asking him to stay back for a different reason. So the association that she is seeking is one that will lead to liberation, not for sense gratification. So that is why her words are glorified as full of renunciation. And the verse says, recalling the words of Lord Vishnu. So what is the words of Lord Vishnu that Kardama Muni is recalling? So this is, if we go back to the chapter 21 in 3rd canto, when Lord Vishnu had personally come in front of Kardama Muni after his 10,000 years of austerities. So he had said that I shall manifest my own plenary portion through your wife, Devahuti, along with your 9 daughters. And I shall instruct her in the system of philosophy that deals with the ultimate principles or categories, essentially Sankhya. So one may ask at this point that did Kardama Muni forget? Because he had already gotten up and he was ready to leave. So is it possible that Kardama Muni forgot about these words of the Lord? Which is obviously not true. But the understanding is that Kardama Muni wanted to instill renunciation in Devahuti. So seeing her husband leaving everything and going, it actually developed a deep sense of detachment in Devahuti. And Kardamuni, as an exalted devotee, he understands that in order to make progress, one needs both. One needs detachment from the material conception, and one needs attachment to the spiritual conception. So he had essentially done that and taken on the role of a guru. That a guru sometimes asks the disciple to do some services. And the purpose of that service is that the disciple makes advancements. Rampal Maharaj actually shares this his own personal story in this, that when he first went to the temple, and this is in the Boston temple, and before that he had been reading up Bhagavad Gitas. I think he had said he had read 5 or 6 versions of Bhagavad Gita. He had gotten a particular copy of Prabhupada's book. I forget which copy, not the Bhagavad Gita, but some copy. He said he got a Back to Godhead and some copy of Bhagavad Gita, or some copy of Prabhupada's book, which he had read. So he had gone to the temple fully prepared to have an enlivening spiritual discussion with the devotees over there. And the devotees came, and then he was prepared to talk, and they said, go to the kitchen and clean the utensils there. And then he started cleaning, and he said, I've cleaned. And the devotee came and said, this is not clean. I can still see black. And he still clean. He said, still not clean. And Maharaj says that in his mind, earlier on, he was thinking that don't they know who I am? And I've read so much, and here they've asked me to clean, but he says something kept me there. And he says, as I kept cleaning, and as the black soot on these vessels got removed and it started shining, he felt his heart also clearing more and more. And later on, of course, he received a lot of valuable association there. But then that's the mood of devotees, that they will give service. That it's the whole question of the need and the want. It's not something that the devotee may want, but the devotee needs it. Sometimes the guru gives some service and the disciple says, this is difficult, how will it help? But this is the whole need and want. That this is something that the guru sees that the disciple needs, and therefore gives that service. Here, of course, Kardamuni created that situation because he could understand that for Devahuti to step into this path of spiritual advancement, detachment is important. And witnessing his detachment, witnessing the prospect of life without the pleasures of a powerful, opulent husband, and also with the natural devotion that she had initially towards her husband and ultimately to the Lord, she quickly reaches this position. 324 Rishiruvacha Makidurajaputretam Atmanam Pratyanindate Bhagvamste Karshogarbam Aduradsam Prapatasyate. The sage said, do not be disappointed with yourself, O princess. You're actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son. Verse 3. Dhritvarta sibhadram te damena niyamena cha tapodravena danescha Shraddhaya Cheshwaram Bhaja. You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence, you should worship the Lord with great faith. through sensory control, religious observances, austerities, and gifts of your money in charity. So Ditvrata-asi, so they refers to the vows that Devahuti had taken in her previous life or in this life while performing her prescribed duties, like serving her husband or performing different vows as were required by her varna and ashram. So that point is made over here that Kardamuni begins with saying that the Lord will enter your womb. Now, Devahuti might say, okay, so if it's a done deal, that's okay. But Kardamuni is saying that still you should make yourself qualified. So even though the mercy of the Lord is causeless, one should still strive to make oneself a qualified recipient of the mercy. And the activities that Kardamuni describes over here, they're more in the category of restraint from sense gratification. So he says samena cha, he said damena cha, niyamena cha, that sense control, following the rules and regulation, then giving charity, that this is performing charitable action with one's own while practicing austerity. So these are essentially different angas of Vaidhi Bhakti, even preliminary to Vaidhi Bhakti. But the point is that all of these will lead to Shuddha Bhakti. And the point that is made over here, at least for as a preaching point for us, is that we should never think that on the strength of our endeavor we will obtain the Lord. Because regardless of however much endeavor we do, we are never qualified to attain the Lord. The fact that we aspire to attain the Lord is simply synonymous to us saying that we are aspiring to receive the causeless mercy of the Lord. But along with that aspiration of receiving the causeless mercy, we are also creating that cause for that mercy. So by following Vaidhi Bhakti, by following pious activities, we are creating that cause for that causeless bhakti. So this is the instruction that Kardamuni is giving to his wife. Verse 4. So tvayāradhitaha shuklo vitanvan mamakam yashaha chetate hridaya granthim audarya brahma bhavanaha. The personality of Godhead being worshipped by you will spread my name and fame. He will vanquish the knot of your heart by becoming your son and teaching knowledge of Brahman. So Devahuti might ask that what will I get? And Kardamuni says that this is what you will get. These are the various benedictions that the Lord will bestow upon you, pleased with your service. He says that even though he is the father of everyone, as a sign of affection to you, he will appear as your son. Even though he is the cause of that which binds everybody to the material world, he will remove that hridaya granthi. He will remove the invincible knot that is there in the in the heart of every materially conditioned soul. And then he says, not only you, but me also. That he will make me famous by accepting me as his father. And then he says, not only the two of us, he will benefit everyone. The teachings that he will give you will be available for everyone to make spiritual advancement. So Prabhupada talks about Hridaya Granthi in the purport, and he says that the identification of oneself with matter, which is called Hridaya Granthi, exists for all conditioned souls. And it becomes more and more tightened when there is too much affection for sex life. The explanation given by Lord Rishabdev to his sons that this material world is an atmosphere of attraction between male and female. So this actually appears in the 5th canto, 5th chapter, verses 8 and 9. And Kardamuni is promising Devahuti that the Lord will help Devahuti untie this Hridaya Granthi. Prabhupada actually says that it cut it into pieces. He doesn't bother untying it. He just cuts it away. Verse 5. Maitreya uvacha devahutyape sandesham gaurven prajapatehe samyak shraddhaya purusham kutastham abhajad gurum. Sri Maitreya said, Devahuti was fully faithful and respectful towards the direction of her husband, Kardam, who was one of the Prajapatis, or generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. So Maitreya in this, he refers to Krishna as Guru, because in this particular incarnation, he appears as a role of a teacher of the science of Sankhya. And also because he will appear as the guru of his mother. So he is referring to the Lord as Kutastam Abhajat Guru, he who is situated in everyone's heart as the guru. And Devahuti, she accepted the instructions of her husband with great respect, Sandesham Gauravena, and followed them with great faith, Samyak Shraddhaya. By doing this, she received the mercy of her guru, which is her husband, and by the mercy of her guru, she receives the mercy of the Lord, who then appeared as her worshipable guru. So essentially, this verse is talking about the potency of following the instructions of the spiritual master. Sandesham Gaurvena, that one should receive the instructions, Sandesham, with great respect, Gaurvena, and then Samyak Shraddhaya, and then they should be followed with great faith. Both of them should go hand in hand. Sometimes people, they will receive the instruction with great respect, but they will do nothing to follow them. Or they'll make false promises. They will promise to the guru, yes, I will do this, I will do that, but they don't follow through. So both of them should go hand in hand. Sandesham Gauravena and Samyak Shraddhaya. And when these two things happen, then your guru will connect you to the Adi Guru. He will connect you to Krishna. Prabhupada in the purport explains that the Lord, he appears only for the pleasure of his devotees. He says, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, he only appears by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. So this is Prabhupada quoting 4.6, Ajopi san Atma Bhutanam Ishwaropi san. And then he says, how does he appear? He appears when pleased by the worship of a devotee. A devotee may ask the Lord to appear as a sun. The Lord is already sitting within the heart, and he comes out from the body of the devotee. It does not mean that a particular woman becomes his mother in the material sense. He is always there. But in order to please his devotee, he appears as a sun. So Prabhupada is making this point that the appearance of Krishna is not dependent on any considerations. Krishna appears as the son of Devaki. It does not mean that if Devaki is not there, Krishna will not be there. But he appeared as the son of Devaki to glorify Devaki, because he was pleased by her devotion. But unlike our cases, where our appearance is predicated upon the material existence of our parents, not in the case of Krishna. That's why Prabhupada says, Ajopi san Avyatma, that he only appears by his internal potency, not by any other considerations. Verse 6, Tasyam bahu tithe kale Bhagwan Madhusudanaha Kardamam Viryam Apano Jajne Rivadaruni. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Madhusudan, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardam, appeared in Devahuti just as fire comes from the wood in a sacrifice. So 2 points are made over here that again reinforce the point that was previously made about the appearance of the Lord. So Prabhupada talks about the fact that when the need arises, the Lord appears from the nostril of Brahma as Vara, or he appears from the pillar of Hiranyakashipu's palace as Narsingadev. But that does not mean that the nostril of Brahma or the pillar is the place of birth. Similarly, one should not think that the semen of Kardam is the source of appearance of the Lord. So he is present everywhere. So he appeared in Devahuti just as fire comes from the wood in a sacrifice. So specifically in sacrifice, the fire comes from within the wood. It's the wood is not lighted. So it's not that the wood is held to a flame and then it lights up, but by the chanting of the mantras by the priests, the fire appears. So the understanding is that the fire is there within the wood, and when the conditions are right, then the fire appears. So similarly, the Lord did not appear from the semen of Kardam Muni. He was not delivered by Devahuti, but he appeared. He appeared because he's by his own desire, because he was already there. He's omnipresent. And then the reason Prabhupada says the word Kardamam is significant because it indicates that he had some devotional affection or relationship and devotional service with Kardam and Devahuti. So the appearance of Lord is not like the seminal birth, and the cause of appearance of the Lord is also entirely because of the free will of the Lord. that because he was attracted by the devotion, he decided to come. Verse 7. Vadyam stada vyomni vaditra niganagnaha gayanti tam sma gandharva nityante apsara muda. At the time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while the celestial dancing girls known as the Apsaras danced in joyful ecstasy. So this is after many thousands of years of Devahuti strictly following the instructions of her husband. And when she was sufficiently purified, then the Lord appears. And when the Lord appears, then everyone in the universe, especially the devotees of the Lord, are joyful. So even though the Apsaras are sometimes mentioned as heavenly prostitutes, but from this verse we can understand that they are also exalted devotees of the Lord by the expression of their spontaneous joy at the appearance of the Lord. Verse 8. Petu sumanaso devya kechare apavarjataha praseduscha dishaha sarva abhamsi cha manamsi cha. At the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods flying freely in the sky showered flowers, all the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied. So this is the effect of the appearance of the Lord, that there is auspiciousness everywhere. So all the directions, all the waters. So the waters are also the waters within the body. So there's waters in the rivers, there's waters in the ocean, and they cause disturbances. Sometimes we see that when there is a lunar, not a lunar eclipse, when there is, what is it called, high tide, then it causes disturbances. And the understanding is because it affects the water in the
Full moon day?
disturbance. Because it causes agitation. So everything was auspicious. All directions, all the waters, everyone's mind was fully satisfied. Kritam Swayambhu Sakam Rishabhi Maricha Pirabhyayat. Brahma, the firstborn living being, went along with Marichi and other sages to the place of Kardam's heritage, which was surrounded by the river Saraswati. So Brahma is in this verse referred to as but self-born means that he has no material father or mother. So that way he is self-born. So all of them went to take darshan of the Lord and also to pay the respects. Verse 10. Bhagavatam param brahma satvenam shena shatruhan O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahma, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, had appeared in the womb of Devahuti, just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. So this is the process of further validation. So one might is my video visible or it's gone again?
No, Prabhu. We couldn't see you.
Oh, okay. So I guess you can hear me, so I'll continue to speak.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So this talks about the so like in the 10th chapter, Arjun says that you have declared yourself as Lord. Now others are declaring yourself as the Lord. So one might say that Kardam and Devahuti, maybe they are being they're being exceptionally hopeful, but who knows if the Lord appeared or not. But so Maitreya says that Lord Brahma, and he's glorifying Lord Brahma to emphasize this point that Brahma, he is Aja, he's unborn, almost Swarat, that he's almost independent. Chateshva Vigya Swarat. Well, there Swarat is used for Krishna, but same is used. Jatam Vidvan Ajaha Swarat. That of course we know that everything he gets is from the Lord, but he's so exalted that he can almost be considered to be independent, and he could understand that. Oh, is the video back on? No, still not.
No, Prabhu.
Oh, my screen suddenly starts flickering. So suddenly it disappears and then suddenly it appears again. Maybe I have to, I'm not sure what I need to do. So further validation by a personality is exalted as Brahma. So what is Brahma indicating? He is saying that Kala or Amsha. So Amsha means direct expansion, and not Kala, sorry, Kala. Kala means expansion of expansion. So Prabhupada said there is no difference between the expansion of the expansion and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as there is no difference between one candle and another. So Prabhupada here is paraphrasing that verse from Brahma Samhita, Diparichi Revahi the Santarama Upetya, that one candle lights several candles, and they're not different, but still he says the candle from which the others are lit is called the original. So Krishna is therefore called Parabrahman.
I can't hear Prabhu. Can you hear? I think now we lost Prabhu completely. No voice, no video.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, we lost him actually.
Yeah.
I think we can stop.
Prabhu is still talking. I can see on Facebook. I don't know if it's how much.
I am texting him, he's not replying.
Yeah, okay. Let me try to call.
Oh, you are in the. Oh, I see him now.
Oh,
Prabhu,
oh,
we can see you now.
Prabhu is back, yes.
Okay. I have no idea what's going on. Zoom seems to have a mind of its own. So another meaning is so Vishnu Chakravarti talks about the three possible meanings of Sattva Amsha. One is that the Lord comes in Shuddha Sattva. He comes in the mode of pure goodness. Second is Lord Shuddha Sattva is also Vasudev, the son of Vasudev, which means that the Lord comes as the Lord, original Lord Krishna expands as is Amshena and comes. And the third meaning is that Sattva Amsha is pointing really to Devahuti and Kardamba. That only when one is situated in this quality of Sattva Amshena, that one can understand the Lord. So one needs to be in Shuddha Sattva to be able to receive the Lord who is in Shuddha Sattva. Okay, so let me pause over here. Right, we're almost at time, and see if we have any comments or discussion. Okay, if not, then we'll stop here. Vanchakalpatarubhayaschit kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Thai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.